Yo, what's up, guys? Insane Game Freak here to bring you Astarotte's Toy Episode 3 review. And just to throw out some stuff real quick before I get started. A lot of shit has been thrown around with the show, and it seems like there's a consensus that it's a fucked up show based upon the premise of the show. I'm going to start linking the Mania reviews of the episode in the description below, because it seems like they judge the show on a more fair basis. Because it seems like a lot of the main things, like, oh man, this premise is fucked up and shit. I mean, it's anime. Most anime have fucked up premises in themselves. I feel like the judging is purely based upon some bullshit, honestly, and it's a little ridiculous and a little biased. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna say the show's fucking perfect. I'm not gonna say that premise isn't cringeworthy. I'm not gonna say I understand that much, but it's one of those shows you should legitimately give a chance. Because it's not that bad. It's not even close to being as bad as people are thinking it is. Like, it's 13 episodes. What did you think they were going to do for 13 episodes? Just have Naya rape Launted for 13 episodes? That's what people keep assuming. Like, oh, she's going to rape him. She's going to fuck him and shit like that. Like, no. There are obvious reasons. You got to look at the show before that. That's on some bias bullshit. And the Mania people seem to review the episodes fairly, evenly. And if you don't know what Mania.com is, it's like another news-related site with a lot of things besides just anime, but they have, like, there's anime sections, and they do written reviews on a lot of the spring 2011 anime. Astarotte isn't as bad, and, I mean, fuck, they gave this episode a B, which seems about right, because it wasn't a bad episode. And this is from a guy, and I'm assuming these people haven't even read the manga, so they don't even know. They don't even know some of the other things I do. But anyways, that's just me. I feel like that just shows a little bit of ignorance when you just judge a series purely based upon a premise. At least give the show, like, watch a few episodes before making that fucking decision. I mean, I know there's a joke with Sam and J-Man about the life seed. I mean, yeah, I don't mind the joke. I'm just saying, for people who are saying it's the worst anime, it's a sick piece of an abomination and shit like that. It's like, you people are over-exaggerating. There are so many things worse than the show. So many things, and I'll just say Bubble Black too, just to name one. But anyways, on to the review. This episode I'm gonna say it takes liberties, and at the same time, this thing isn't following the manga like by the book, because this shit with the school that shows up in this episode doesn't technically appear in the manga until like the latest chapter. Like the latest 2 chapters is when that shit was brought up. So this thing is taking some liberties and the positioning of things, but this episode does explain that Asuha is in fact Naya's daughter, which if you watch the anime, you wouldn't have known that until this episode, unless you were just really perceptive. But yeah, Asuha is 10 and Naya's 23, and they even do this, and freaking Latek freaks the fuck out and starts just bashing the shit out of Naya for it. It's like, you were 13 when you had her, you sick fuck, and all this other crap. And the manga, I prefer the manga scene to the anime scene. The manga scene, Asuha goes over there and slaps the shit out of her, talking about she doesn't know anything. Because, I mean, honestly, I don't know any daughter of a father, like, of a close relationship between a daughter and father, a daughter that would let someone else just talk shit about her dad. And in the manga, she slaps it. In the anime, she kind of just curses her out, and then just grabs her dad's hand, and they just walk the fuck out, because it's like, how fucking dare you? I would prefer the slapping, because that would have been fucking hilarious. Like, who the fuck are you? Just to say shit. You're a succubus. You need semen to survive. You wouldn't talk shit about my father. Fuck you. For a lot of people are going, that's cringeworthy. It is cringeworthy until you find out who Asuha's mother is. It is not cringeworthy. It's kind of, then you kind of feel bad for Naya on some level. But for whatever reason, Naya's way too chilled out, I'm not gonna lie. In the manga, and probably in the anime too, he's just way too chilled out about certain things. But the whole premise of this episode is kind of just building Asuha's relationship with the princess. Because she starts out hating her because of the whole shit she talked about her dad. Then we find out that apparently she does go to school, and Asuha wants to go. And she does go, and it seems like she acts like she's really chummy with the princess because she tries again. And a lot of the other, and then they kind of, you kind of find out through the episode that the princess hasn't really talked to anybody there because she was a princess, and a lot of people are intimidated by that fact. And the whole episode really just kind of builds upon their relationship as friends and helps her as a person grow and become friends with other people and explain that not everything's always about like diplomatic status and shit. I mean, that's really the whole premise of the third episode, and I thought that was pretty nice personally. There's one little retarded scene in there personally with me where it's like it makes sense, but it was confusing as shit when it first came out. Like there's a random llama that just randomly attacks everybody because they think it's a human male. Because remember humans are really rare in this area. And also thinks it's a dad, and it's like this random llama, and they think the llama's a human. So they're like there's these three girls that Asuha makes friends with that eventually Lotte makes friends with. The names are Mist, Yuna, and Luca, I think. And that's where the whole explanation of why no one's talked to the princess and everything. And it pretty much boils down to everyone's like cool and shit, and the relationship is building. And funny, Naya's not really in the episode that much. I mean, after the beginning parts, because the rest of the episode kind of takes place at school. He comes back for a minute when he brings them their lunch, and they explain that the llama was chasing Naya because Naya got to the front gate to bring the lunch, and llama chased him, and that's where that shit took place. But the episode to me personally was good, and I mean, you guys can put your thoughts and just personal opinions on the episode on the comment section below. But I personally liked it. I mean, it kind of showed that you don't need Naya there to show that Asuha can be like her own character. I mean, there is one thing about Asuha that irks the shit out of me because she's like really energetic and outgoing, and she's one of those girls who's 10 but has like the mind process of like an adult, and I like that. Well, for the most part, there's a funny scene where the girls were asking Asuha, why is your dad work for the princess? Like, oh, apparently it's supposed to be something called a harem, which tells you she doesn't know what a harem is. And two of the girls do. Like, there's three girls, but two of them realize what a harem is, and they're freaking the fuck out, which is probably the viewer's reaction to it. And I thought that was pretty funny. But there's one thing about Asuha that irks me. She's really cool and shit, but for whatever reason, she has this weird thing where she doesn't like to wear underwear, and they don't ever show, they never do her dress flying all the way up and you seeing something. They do it in the manga a few times. This is one of the cringeworthy parts I personally don't like. I don't understand. She's like 10. If she was like 5 or 4, I can understand this a little bit better. But she's 10 years old, and she has this thing about not wearing underwear. And Naya gets on her about this all the fucking time, and she still won't wear underwear for whatever reason. So it gets to the point where, it's like certain points in the episode, you're like, is she wearing underwear? Please let her be wearing underwear. And there's not much lolly fan service, as much as you would think. I will say the only lolly fan service that kind of creeps me out on top of the underwear thing is that the princess wears the nightgown you occasionally see. That looks really fucking weird for a 10-year-old. I'm just saying, that's just too fucking much. Like, that, the panty thing, and probably the premise of the show, the 3 things that really irked me. I can kind of let the panty and the outfit thing go, mainly because it doesn't come up much, and they don't do a lot of fan service with it, which is not what I was expecting, honestly. The premise, from the manga standpoint, they don't take it any further. There's one cringeworthy scene I think they'll probably have in either next episode or the episode after. 4 or 5 will do it. I'm not looking forward to that scene because that scene kind of freaked me out a little bit. That's if they do it in the anime, and they probably will. And I'm not looking. That's only one scene I don't really like. But that's pretty much my review for the episode. I thought it was pretty decent. It's not. I mean, people just need to realize this show isn't supposed to be the granddaddy of best shows ever. But people also need to realize that just because because the premise is really fucked up doesn't necessarily make the show bad. Especially if the show doesn't. I mean, we've seen in a lot of other animes, premise is just a way. It's just using an excuse to do the things they do in the show, and that's what this seems like. This premise is somewhat of an excuse. But for people who are saying, nah, he's a sick fuck because he had a child at 13, I'm not going to tell you much about that, but I am going to say one thing. He was raped. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to explain how and why, but just know he quote unquote was raped because of the age of her mom. But that's all I'm gonna say. And you can run with that with all you want. There's no, I don't think I have a catchphrase for this show yet because I can't think of one honestly. Siemens? Oh no. I'll just use J-Man and Sam's. What was it? What was it? She needs the life seed. I'll just use that as a catchphrase for all these reviews. But anyways, life's a game. Play to win. To what you guys thought about the episode in comment section below. Read the review on Mania just to get a more balanced review instead of this ridiculous bias because of the premise. Not because of the show, not because the episodes were horrible, just because of the premise. Ah, shit, the premise. But anyways, comment in the section below, and I'll catch you guys later.